Hello Wolfpack, today we're going to be analysing Digibyte and we're going to be looking into how Digibyte is currently sitting on a very critical support zone in which if we do see a rally on Bitcoin, if we do see a continuation on Bitcoin, Digibyte will be one of the bigger movers, right? This is going to be something to definitely keep on your watch list because in the scenario that we do see a rally on Bitcoin and Digibyte actually maintains the support zone that we're going to talk about in a second, it is going to go parabolic in my personal opinion, or at least it's going to be set up to go parabolic in the near future. Now look at Digibyte on Coinbase here. On CoinMarketCap, sorry, and what we can see is that Digibyte is very similar to Bitcoin in terms of tokenomics, right? It's essentially got the same 21, it's got billion though, instead of Bitcoin's 21 million, it's got 21 billion. Digibyte kind of aims to be something that's very familiar because it's rivaling Bitcoin. Obviously it can't be the same as Bitcoin, but it aims to, seek out that familiarity in Bitcoin so that people who know what Bitcoin is generally already knows what Digibyte is. There are some exceptions, but it's mineable, it's proof of work, it's got the 21 billion instead of a 21 million, right? Same concept though, it's just times by 10. Almost the same amount of circulating supply. I think it's about one halving or maybe two halvings behind Bitcoin there. But essentially this coin is very similar to Bitcoin in all ways. It does, claim to be cheaper, claim to be faster, and claim to be more eco-friendly as well. But I'm not here to talk about fundamentals, okay? I'm here to talk about Digibyte technicals. And what I can say off the bat is that Digibyte, the reason why I like Digibyte, right? Because I do like Digibyte. The reason why I like it, one of the reasons is because it has that proven, that proven value in the market. It's been around since 2014. It's got a very, very, very strong community. Okay, this is one of the communities out there like Nano, like Bitcoin Cash, where there's die-hard fans of Digibyte who genuinely believe that it is the better version of Bitcoin, or at least believe that it is, good enough to work on a day-to-day level for citizens in any kind of society. And people do already use this coin. They already do use Digibyte, in societies, third world countries, developing countries already use Digibyte as a alternate to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin can be a bit expensive, right? If you don't have the Lightning Network set up, and even with the Lightning Network, it can be a bit expensive, right? And they're looking for other alternatives, and this is what it kind of appeals to, right? But regardless of fundamentals, okay, because I'm not here to talk about fundamentals, Digibyte's kind of in a pretty interesting position right now because we have on the daily chart here for Digibyte sitting on a major support zone in which, we've held throughout the entire of 2020. We can see this support zone is coming from around 3.3 cents, okay? And it's formed here in 2020, May 2020. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can get a bit of a better view so my face cam's not in the way here. And we can see that right now we are sitting right on top of that. That's 3.2 cents. We can draw a little box there and we can draw all the way up to 4.1 cents. And what we can see that 4.1 cents and 3.2 cents is a region that held in July. Okay, it acted as resistance in August 2020. It acted as resistance all through here in September, November, all through here in January. We finally got above it and we blew up to the upside when we broke above it. Now we've come back down, we've retested it in July, held it in October, held it in October again, tested it in December, right? And we've just dropped below it, and now we are finally testing extensively it for support. We've been testing it for about a month straight, right? In the middle of that support box for about a month, just bouncing in between. And we'll change this green just so we can label this as support. And so obviously, without even looking at any other technicals, we can see that this is a very, very, very important zone. Now, what I will say before we get into the video, okay? If you wanted to be trading Digibyte, this would be a decent time to buy, simply due to the fact that this is a long-term support zone. Now, obviously, you need to take into consideration that Bitcoin, and we'll bring it up right now, and we're going to four-hourly chart on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is in a very similar position in which it's testing a long-term support zone, right? Throughout the entire month, it's been testing 45.5K. If Bitcoin loses 45.5K, that's going to be a sign to sell Digibyte if you bought it, right? Because that means that Digibyte's pretty much going to lose that region at 3.2 cents. But right now, this is a long, right? This is a long. I'm not personally taking the long because I'm long-term kind of skeptical or bearish in the market until proven otherwise, and that me being proven otherwise currently would break above 52K. However, I'm not going to be buying Digibyte here, but if you were interested in taking a high-risk trade, Digibyte is what you'd be taking right now. Now, as for a sell point, because obviously this is major support, this is where you'd be buying. As for a sell point on Digibyte, you'd probably be looking at anywhere between probably, let's see where these tops were here, these local tops, we can see 7.2 cents all the way up to around probably 8 cents. Okay, that's where I'd be looking to sell Digibyte. So this is, if everything pans out correctly, let's draw this red. If everything pans out correctly, Digibyte could pretty much cop a 140% gain here at the most, right? And that's a decent probability of that happening, right? There's no guarantee that we're going to drop below the support, and so there's a decent probability that we could actually swing to the upside here all the way up to 8 cents within a matter of a month, right? But I would encourage you to understand the situation for Bitcoin is very dire. We are about 2 days away from closing below the 50-week SMA if we maintain these current prices, which would be very, very bearish and pretty much indicate a whole market crash incoming. However, just based off the trend, and the trend is that this area between 4.1 cents and 3.2 cents is very, very, very important. We're currently testing it for support. Based off a trend, it would be a logical place to take a risk. And the good thing about Digibyte, right? The good thing about Digibyte is if you are going to take this risk, which I'm not personally taking, right? But if you are going to take this risk, you know, all you need to do is you know, buy here, and you need to set your stop loss, I'd say probably at 2.9 cents, okay? And you'd be risking, let's see, probably, you know, 15% on Digibyte, which is a decent amount, right? It's a decent amount, 15% loss. But you're standing to gain 140%, right? So if you're happy with having a moderate to high chance of losing 15% of your capital with Digibyte, to have a moderate to low chance of gaining 140%, this is the trade for you. But you know, if you don't want to be that risky, if you don't want to trade, this is still a coin that you should be looking at. And the reason being is that if Bitcoin does swing up and does break 52K and does get back over the bull market support band of 53K, Digibyte isn't going to make that much of a move in the very short term, right? Because it's an altcoin, and Bitcoin will gather the attention of the market. And so that would be a signal for you to buy Digibyte. And Digibyte wouldn't be that high at that point, right? At most, it'd probably be 40, you know, probably, you know, 4.5 cents, somewhere in that region at the most. And so if the market does recover, right, and this is if you're not willing to trade it right now, if you're willing to be more conservative and wait a little bit, if the market does recover, Digibyte's still going to be in a great position to buy because it would have recently double bottomed, right? This is a double bottom formation. You'd buy somewhere up here. Obviously, you'd miss out on some of the gains, but it would be in a great position to buy because it recently double bottomed on a major support zone, and it'd be very, very low risk from that point. That's what I'm personally doing, right? So what I'm doing is I'm understanding that, hey, I'm not going to trade this right now, even though I think it's a pretty, you know, decent trade, depending on your view on the market, right? But what I am going to do is I'm going to keep this in my watch book, right? Keep this in my watch list, whatever you call it, right? Favorite it, look at it daily. When Bitcoin breaks to the upside, if that happens, I'll come back to this coin and I'll trade it because that will be in a very, very favorable position. It would have double bottomed on major support and it would head to the upside. Let's look at some indicators here on Digibyte to see if there's any indication for what we're going to do in the future here. And obviously, the thing with indicators and altcoins right now is that they don't really matter because Bitcoin is the main indicator. But what we can say is that Digibyte is, according to the volume profile, coming up on a very steep hill. I'll zoom out because you guys probably can't see because my face is in the way, right? But just below us here, just below this major support, starting at around 2.8 cents, there is a major spike on the volume profile, which indicates a large support region. So if we wick downwards to the downside, we're going to get eaten up and we're going to get brought back up, right? Which is great to see. There's a lot of support there. However, there is equally a lot of resistance, right? The bull market support band, the 200-day SMA, and the 50-week and the 50-day SMA are all acting as resistance between basically the top of the green box and you know, also between, let's see, 5.2 cents. So there's a lot of resistance to the upside and quite a bit of support for the downside. What I will note is that when we bottomed out on the green box here, we were basically below the same resistance as we were below right now. So it's not unachievable for Digibyte to swing to the upside here at all, right? We've been in this position before and we swung to the upside when we were in this position. So it's happened before, it could happen again very well. But if we're looking at, for example, the MACD, you can get us a bit of a better idea of where Digibyte is kind of sitting right now. It's sitting in a zone in which we're about to see a bearish MACD cross. Okay, we're literally on the verge of seeing a bearish MACD cross. And in order to avoid this MACD cross, within the next week, I'd say, we need to be swinging to the upside, right? If we don't swing to the upside, we'll be seeing a bearish MACD cross and we'll be dropping below this support zone. This is a similar position to what we were in July as well. You can see that in July, we were about to see a bearish MACD cross and we swung to the upside and avoided it. And we can see that that just zoomed up to the upside in the coming few weeks after that. So very similar position to July. You know, at the end of the day, the trend is your friend until it ends. And so technically, we should be expecting Digibyte to go upwards here. However, we are kind of, well, I am personally cautious on Bitcoin. And so that's why I'm not taking this trade currently. But as I said, add it to your watch list. If Bitcoin does recover, if Bitcoin does break 52K, 53K, breaks the bull market support band, gets into the mid 50s, you know, in which case Digibyte will probably move up maybe 10, 15% from here. Let's just measure that out right now. right? Maybe 20%. Let's be ultra kind of bullish on Digibyte here. Maybe it moves up 20%. We're at 0.4, right? You're buying in at 4 cents instead of 3.3 cents, and you're buying in at 4 cents with the extra confirmation that it's going to go up that you wouldn't have had at 3.3%. So, you know, it's definitely worth, in my opinion, waiting. And if Bitcoin does swing to the upside, this is going to be a great trade. And I can see if Bitcoin does recover, which is an if, right? We are cautious right now. If it does recover, this coin is going to outperform the vast majority of altcoins, in my opinion, within the next couple of weeks of that recovery, within the next few weeks of that recovery, and possibly do something like this and swing all the way out back up to this red box, in which you'd sell from there. And then if it broke that red box, you'd buy back in and wait for the parabolic move, just like it happened last time. Okay, so again, and similar to all of my altcoin videos right now, this isn't a video saying, oh, it's just going to go up or down. No, it's a video saying right now is a decent trading opportunity if you're willing to take that risk. But if it doesn't, you know, pan out right now, if Bitcoin does recover, keep this on your watch list, because this is going to go parabolic when Bitcoin does recover, or if Bitcoin does recover. You know, so I'm not just saying nothing here. I'm giving you a great coin if a specific scenario plays out. Okay, and that's very important in this market, because we need to be able to plan these trades, right? We don't just make trades, you know, off the top of our head. We have to plan them before they happen, wait for the scenario to play out, and take that trade when that scenario does actually play out. And so, you know, looking at this from the weekly chart and from a different point of view here, we can see that Digibyte is kind of coming up on a major support zone in regards to the 200-week SMA, which is just below our major support zone that has been formed by the green box at 3.2 cents. And that so kind of gives us a little bit of an example of how much support we do have on Digibyte and how major this support zone actually is. The 200-week SMA, for those of you who don't know, is basically the most critical support zone you have in terms of dynamic support zones in the market, right? It held, for example, just on Digibyte here, let's remove some of these indicators so we can see clearly, it held throughout the entirety of April 2020 all the way to January 2021, and we bounced off of that to the upside, and we can see we sprung up here from around 2 cents all the way up to 18 cents, and that's due to the extensive hold of a 200-week SMA. And so having that below us is reassuring, especially to the short-term traders. And so, you know, that's great to see on Digibyte, but we also have to note that there is a lot of resistance, as we would have talked about previously. But what we can see on the weekly chart as well is we're kind of primed for a move to the upside here. And if Bitcoin does recover, which looks like it definitely a strong possibility of that happening. I wouldn't say it's likely, but it's definitely not unheard of, right? We could very well recover here on Bitcoin. If it does recover, we're going to be seeing a bullish MACD cross on the weekly chart, and we're bottomed out in the stochastic RSI, and so that's going to swing to the upside very, very quickly along with a rally, and we can possibly even look to break the highs here in Digibyte and head up and make a new high in the kind of medium-term time frame. As for the Bitcoin pair, this is as well as, you know, the USD pairs, it looks as though it's potentially bottomed out, right? We've bottomed out, we've formed this kind of double bottom region in the same place at around 73 sats that we formed the region here in December 2017. We formed it here in April 2020. Here in January 2021, and also right now. So we've got a major support on the Bitcoin pair, a major support on USD pair, the 200-week SMA right below us. You know, the only thing that would stop me from making this trade right now, as I've said, is because of the, you know, I'm cautious on Bitcoin. But, you know, this is definitely, as I said, something you need to be keeping an eye on, because if Bitcoin does swing to the upside, does recover, you could definitely make some very quick profits well, not quick, but very large profits in proportion to other altcoins on Digibyte, because this is definitely set up and very, definitely good and in a very good position for a swing to the upside here if we do see a recovery. What I will note as well, that is another bullish argument here on Digibyte, is that we're seeing descending volume in a downwards trend, which basically means the trend is unsustainable. When you see descending volume in any trend, whether it be upside or downside, it means the trend is unsustainable. And seeing that right on top of support is kind of good to see. So keep an eye on Digibyte. If Bitcoin does manage to break through some resistance here, and we do confirm some sort of upwards momentum here, Digibyte is going to be one of those first movers that you need to be keeping an eye on. So I hope you learned something from this video. I hope you maybe would add this to your watch list. Tell me what you think about Digibyte on a larger scale here, and tell me what you think about this trading signal. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.